What is going on, guys? This is Robert from Robert Was Here with a new MBTI video for you guys, and in this video we will be going over perception. Now we're going to be taking a more in-depth view, unlike in my intro to perception and judgment. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now the question is, what is perception exactly? And perception is how well a person is attuned to incoming information. Now these people might be curious, they might be open to what is new, they might be adaptable, and their aim is to get as much information as possible because they don't want to miss anything important. Now, how do they go about doing this? It's through the two perception preferences, which is through intuition and sensing. Now, for sensors, they pretty much pick up information empirically or through their five senses. And for intuitives, they pick up information through the possibilities of what could be. It does not necessarily have to be an empirical experience for an intuitive to pick it up. But as a drawback to that, it may or may not actually exist. So, sensors want a free flood of empirical experiences, sensory experiences. The people that like to listen to the music. They like to really feel the music. When they eat something, like they taste all the flavors, so on and so forth. Indulging your senses. This is what sensors prefer to do. And for intuitives, they like to indulge the possibilities. They like to brainstorm, which is pretty much where you just generate ideas, whether they are feasible or not, whether they make sense or not. You're generating the ideas and you're just going through them. And we're going to take a more in-depth look at sensing right now. So for sensors, they essentially are more comfortable in what they can experience with their five senses because it exists to them. They can see it, they can taste it, they can touch it, they can hear it, etc. So they tend to focus on the immediate experiences available empirically, and that's what they prefer. But because of this and that preference, they aren't really sensitive to future possibilities. So these are the type to leap before they look, if you will. And we go on to intuitives, which is the second preference for perception. Now, intuitives, they like to think about possibilities of things. And pretty much, the possibilities might even extend beyond what the five senses can pick up. And sometimes they might try to think about what's going to happen in the future. These are people that try to make predictions and so on and so forth. And because of this, they're the ones to look before they leap. But a drawback to doing that is that because they might be thinking about what they might be jumping over, they might not actually ever jump because they're analyzing the possibilities or generating possibilities of what could be there when they jump. So these are the types of people that will buy a strategy guide for a game and possibly not ever play the game. Now, how do you tell these two apart? How do you tell whether you prefer intuition or do you prefer sensing? And now, you've probably seen this. This is how they claim you can tell them apart. And they normally use stuff like abstract and big picture ideas and so on and so forth. But this is how to tell them apart. Now, if there was an apple, the sensor would look at the apple. That's an apple there. And they might start telling you like traits of the apple. It's red, it's juicy, so on and so forth. Now, intuitives, of course, they're going to physically see that apple, but they're going to put possibilities to it. So they might physically see the apple, but then think about things that are connected to apples, and then go on from there. Like the phrase, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. They might be like, will it really keep the doctor away though? And then they start to think about it, and what stimulated it was, of course, the apple. Now, this is only if you stick to the original theory though. Oh wait, looks like we have a guest trying to cut in on us. Let's see what they have to say. Alright guys, so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, but this is important information. So MBTI has its roots in psychology with the subject and the object. And we're going to allow Cloud to explain that for us. Pretty much your hilt is introversion or subject based. The guard is a barrier between the inner world and the outer world. The blade is object based, and it's how you interact with the environment. Pretty much you grab the hilt of the sword and it's focused on you. So it's subject based. And when you grab your sword, you're probably going to want to swing it at something. And when you're swinging the blade around to cut something, it's object based, because without the object there's nothing to cut. And that simply explains introversion and extroversion. And now I'll give you a brief summary of the differences in the perceiving preferences with introversion and extroversion. So with SC, or extroverted sensing, that individual is a object-based sensor, meaning that they focus on objects in their external world. Now, if a SC user were to have an apple, they will bite into it and focus on how juicy it is. They might note the color of the apple, so on and so forth. But they are focused on that apple. Now, the opposite of that is a introverted sensor, or a subject-based sensor. And what this means is that while a SI user will bite into the apple, they will also look into themselves or the inner world and see how that apple relates to them. So this could be in form of like a cherished memory, like, hey, I used to eat apples with my grandparents when I was a child, or last time I've been to an apple, this really bad event happened, so I don't like biting apples. Something like that. But that's the difference. For a SC user or extroverted sensor or object-based sensor, they are focused purely on that present moment of the apple. And then for a introverted sensor or SI user or a subject-based sensor, they are focused on that present moment and how it relates to them personally or their inner world. Alright, and for intuition, you have object-based intuition, like NE, or extroverted intuition, which is applying possibilities to an object. And these people might see the apple, and then they might put like a goofy face on it, some googly eyes, and be like, hey look, it's a guy. And if this apple were like a guy, then he'd have friends, and it'd be like Mr. Banana, Miss Orange, so on and so forth. See, the initial object that they were perceiving was the apple, and they applied possibilities to it. For a introverted intuitive, a NI user, or a subject-based intuitive, they might be generating possibilities for the apple from their own subjective lens, thinking about how the apple is connected to something. Like maybe thinking about who came up with the phrase of an apple a day keeps the doctor away, why, what time period, and then try to flesh out that concept there. It might not all happen at that moment, but eventually down the line they're going to find something out, and they're going to have that aha eureka moment, a sense of clarity with their idea. Now, that's a preview of coming attractions. And my next video, we're going to be talking about the judgment functions in depth. But then after that, we're going to be heading into cognitive functions. So I will see you guys then. I hope you enjoy your journey.